yeah, 15 years ago, I dreamt about the story. I dreamt about setting up a solar restaurant. So at the beginning it was just a dream, and it took some first years. Say, okay, maybe it's interesting. Maybe I could try it. So I first met, I think, Wolfgang in 2013. So it's been 12 years now, and just saying, hello, I'm really keen on doing a solar restaurant. But that guy just wants to do a bit crazy things. But as I realized talking to some of you, we are all a bit crazy, and that's why we're here. Yeah, very good. No? So that's how it starts, and it starts like that. So first we met, and okay, why not doing it? And the idea was, to me, at least the story I wanted to tell, it was how can I cook local ingredients with local energy? Because it just makes sense. It's a nice story to be told, and I just enjoy doing it. It's not about saving the planet. It's not about being ecological. It's just it makes sense to me, and that's the story I want to tell others. See how beautiful it is just to harness the sun, to transform it into heat, and just cook some great stuff from it. So that's the start of life. And for that, it was a need for me as a cook, and also as an engineer, but more, rather as a cook, to have something really practical to use. And we as a cook use a cast iron plate, which is like pretty big, and it is heated up in the center by gas or wood or charcoal, but whatever. And it's really hot in the middle, so that you can have really hot plate and really hot fire, let's say, in the middle, and then you move the pan away, so that you can have all the temperature and simmer down any dish. So that's the start of this, and I came to Wolfgang and said, okay, would it be possible to help me out, and so on and so on. And it's at least to work. I remember writing down some calculation on the corner of a table. You know, there's always that story that we were on a cafe, and I remember something like that, where we just, okay, that might work, that this plate and so on. So it's how it started, and I was how to say, keen enough to say, okay, within 2, maybe 3 years, I would be able to set up this restaurant. As you have seen, it took quite a little bit more, and almost 10 years. And now when I look back, I say, okay, it's only 10 years from just saying that let's do this, and being able to convince so many people, to convince the bank, to convince investors, that the story we want to tell is a story that resonates to some people, and that might be also economically viable. Because that's the point. I mean, we are dealing with banks and so on, so we are a company, and we need to at least make it even so that we can last long. On the technical side, we will see some of it, but when I see the clockwork that Wolfgang just showed, I mean, I used it a lot because the first one was only clockwork, and we use it. I think maybe Benjamin, who is here, one of my associates, 3 or 4 years in a row, and we kept saying we need to change it to make it automatic, but it was working good enough so that we burned a few things. Okay, but mainly we kept it because it was good enough that we had the balance between changing it and just keeping using it was in favor of just keeping and using it. So that was quite amazing, and that was also a really interesting story to tell, because people, especially in France, they would come to our place and say, okay, that's really interesting, the concept, but how do it turn? And when you explain to them, it's just by this clock. It can't work like that. It's not possible. And that's where it's really crazy. It's because this story is about that. It's just people that come and say, okay, wow, it's not possible that it's so simple. And you all know that we can burn something with a Schaefer or with any concentrated system, but still we are all amazed about this. I am the first one. Every day at the restaurant, I have people that ask me, "Yeah, can you show me?" And I take this piece of wood and say, "See, it's burning." And every day I'm just like, "Wow, it's burning." And if I have this feeling, it's because it's still not normal for me that when I am concentrating the light, it's burning. See, when I'm turning up the gas, it's burning. But there is no wow. And honestly, it is. Think about that. Because getting gas in your apartment is just like switching it on and having gas. That's so incredible. But for us, it's okay. But concentrating the light, wow, that's amazing. And that's where you see the stories we can have about this. Because it's just that we don't really have this in mind. We don't really believe in it somehow. And stories are made to be believed in. So that's how you change things. On the technical aspect, I don't know. On technical aspect, we'll see over there, and we'll see that we have some issue regarding the security. That's part of it. But the main idea we had, and that's why I went to meet Wolfgang, was that I want something that is made for cooks. I don't want to adapt myself too much to a different tool. And so, first of all, I need to be inside a building. Not only because it's practical, for sure, when you have to cook all day long and you are not in the shade, wow, that's tricky. So, you need to be in the shade or in the building, but you need also to be in the building because of safety rules, just for the cleanliness of the kitchen, that's it. So if we want to do it in France, we have to be inside the kitchen, professional kitchen, that we can clean from the top to the bottom and so on. So that was the idea. And lately, it was the practical side of it that I want that any of my cooks that would come into the restaurant, they work for the restaurant, they would come and say, okay, I know this. I don't know how it's working over there. It's automatic anyway now. So I just need to concentrate on cooking. And I know how it's working. So that was the plan. And it worked so well that you are here today and we are welcoming you in the restaurant. But it's also that we work with professional supplier for kitchen. For example, the stove we have, you might have seen it. It's a really nice professional stove. It's made by Atanor, it's a French company. They are a small company, about 20 people working in, and they just produce tailor-made stove. And they might produce 80, 100 a year, so it's really, really small. I mean, it's a pretty small company, but they are really high standards. And they do the stoves for the best restaurant in the world. That's a bit crazy. And they came to us years ago, and they came to us saying, we've seen that you're doing something with solar, it's quite interesting. Can we play with you and see how to do that? And it took almost 5 years until we could really implement what we've done just by doing it into one of their stores, and so that we can have their technology, their professional skills applied to something like that. So that's where we would like to go. And thanks to that, we set up the restaurant. And the first need is to, let's say, to operate it and be profitable in the sense that we need to be even economically wise, so that after we could continue in this restaurant for sure, but also maybe start doing it in some other places. Because if it's a good story, well, I guess a lot of people would like to hear it. And to hear it, the best is to taste it, I think. Because you know, we have we have two brains. One is thinking a lot, the other one is not. Actually, he is thinking a lot. You know, we have this brain. You know the size of it? It's about 2 kg. So you have 2 kg of brain in your stomach. Those 2 kg, they are microbes, bacteria. They are living beings, actually. Living beings that that are living with you. So actually, when I say, I think that solar restaurant is a good idea. We, both of us, think it's a good idea. Because, well, there is an animal I'm living with and I'm really happy with it. Or with it, or with her, I don't know. But with them, actually. And surprisingly, we said that maybe it's more interesting to talk to this brain in order to get the story up there so that we can change the world. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your talk. So we have time for a couple of questions. Please start.
When will you write a book about that?
Yeah, as soon as I find someone that pays for the time I need to do it. No, I really would like book, maybe not. We started a few collaborations like that actually. One was on cartoon. I really like cartoon. It was about the way we did the project. Because actually, it's something that Wolfgang also said. Is there is one side which is the technical part of it, and there are some challenges, some issues to be addressed. But the most difficult part of being able to welcome you today is to package that story so that people believe in it and are ready to pay or invest or give us money to make it happen. That was more tricky, actually. So yeah, I really would like, if you have any people ready to do it. Yeah,
I was wondering how many times per day did you use did you have to reset the clock system?
when we had the clockwork,
Yeah.
well, that was depending on the wind. Because, well, the point is like when the clockwork, when you start it in the morning, it has a lot of power because the weight is really high. So it goes pretty well. And, well, I would say during the midday or in the afternoon, it starts to be less powerful. Is it correct?
What?
Because of the torque.
Yeah, the talk of the reflector.
Yeah. And so during the day was, well, in the afternoon sometimes we had to set it again. And the fact is that when we had some wind, all the clockwork was not really protected, so sometimes it was affecting the small balance, and that was stopping. And we had a detector, we had a sensor, let's say. That was not in the restaurant, that was in the small kitchen we had before. And the sensor was our noise because it was melting down the painting of the container. So it was maybe really bad. And we were like, oh, the clockwork is not working anymore, we have to go there.
What you're doing, which is the practice like of in a restaurant. We would like to do also the transformation of food with solar energy in our project in Cannes. There is one issue that I find really interesting is that you just want to you want that the cooks continue cooking the same way. In Cannes we have a different approach where we have done an hybrid between rocket stove on boxes and so on, and we try to completely change the way we cook and so on. What would be, isn't there more possibilities if you would also open the possibility that we would cook completely differently with the solar energy? It's like, is it not blocking for systemic change? Like,
there are three questions inside, I would say. The first one is, honestly, we are dealing with the sun, so we are not cooking like it was normal gas. So of course the cooks, they still have to adapt to the fact that sometimes we have less sun and so on. And one of the cooks, Thierry, he said something really interesting, because people are asking us, does it change the taste? Yeah, well, produce first, then the produce, then the talent of the cooks, then maybe something special, then that might be something. But the point is, like, when you are cooking like this, you have to pay attention of what you do, a little bit more. And that extra attention you're putting because of the sun, because of many things, puts more attention in the food that you do. And I do believe that extra attention makes things even better. The second thing is that we are a kitchen, and we are selling, we are a business. And kitchen, restaurant, it's a bad business. In the sense that if you want to use good produce, if you want to pay people the normal price, and honestly we are not really well paid, and so on, then you need to be really, really organized and effective, and really fast. Otherwise, it's just not possible to make it economically viable. So that's why we thought, okay, better to take good cooks that can cook well and use the tradition of cooking into that, instead of just reinventing a way of cooking, which is a good idea too, because I've seen things and it takes creativity to do all the things that I would not have think possible. So there are people doing crazy stuff with solar cooking in different ways, and I do believe you are also doing it. But it's balance between what we can do and what is possible to do economically. So that's where the balance is not always easy. I have an example that I really love. In the really beginning, was in 2015, we used a Fresnel lens to burn apricots. That was just amazing, because we would put some sugar in the center, and it's so precise that we could burn the center, so make it caramelize, without touching the outside. So you had like two different tastes inside, and it was just like not possible to achieve it in any other way. As a cook, I was just like, wow, I'm just like, there is something there. The problem is, it takes me 1 hour to do turkey like this. Well, I did it, it was interesting, but maybe in 10 years down now, we'll be such an acclaimed restaurant that we'll have thousands of cooks just doing this. But, well, it's not possible to do it. But still, there are things like this that are so amazing, because you are just shifting the way you're making things, and then you find other way of doing it.
Thank you very much. I'm amazed by this project. And I was wondering if is there any future plan to have like a program to coach transitioning other projects into solar?
Yes, there are plans. The first one is to be profitable here, because we are not yet. And that's the main risk on the project, is just to close down the restaurant because we are not making enough money to pay everything back. And for sure, it's now the difficult part, because it's the first year. We opened the restaurant less than a year ago. So that's where it's really difficult, and because, well, it's the start. When we will pass this year, maybe a year and a half, then that means we'll have enough clients, and it's gonna run. And then we can project on what we do next. By the way, we are looking for an investor. And the next part is, how do we, we I'm pretty sure there are many places where we could do, maybe not this big restaurant because it's quite expensive, but a small location, as good, as nice, as so on, but less expensive. And I'm sure that in many places there are sun and people enjoying food and good stories. So it should be possible to set up some other restaurant hub or train people how to use it, or maybe sell some stove. The point is, as you mentioned, that today there is no economical value of using it because it's more expensive than just using wood or maybe a PV or whatever. So if you want to use that, then that means you get some extra balance, and honestly it's because of the story you are telling that brings people to your place and make it profitable. But we are looking into that so that hopefully next year or in the coming years we'll be able to set up other ones and see. So if you do it now.
I was wondering if sometimes when you are supposed to be closed, but the forecast is very good, you are opening the restaurant.
Actually not, because we are quite, I mean, to run the restaurant, when it's running, at least you need 3-4 people just to run it. And after you need clients. And the point is like we are not yet ready as a society to recognize that, oh, tomorrow it's sunny, I'm gonna go to the restaurant, because they're open, you know. So that's the balance between having the workers in the restaurant and having the clients also, so that you don't lose money. There is a story, I was joking about it when we started the project. In Marseille, there is, you did a joke and 400 days of sun. But no, on average, there are almost 300 days of sun in Marseille a year. And when we are walking, it's 221 days a year. So we could be open only on sunny days. That is possible, but honestly, to run it like that as a business, wow, it's so difficult. Maybe in a few years, that would be possible. But today we say, okay, we need to have a backup, we need to be able to stick to the habits of our society so far, so that we are opening, well, normal operation, and if someone books, you cook for them, whatever. Otherwise, we felt it might be too tricky. And legally wise, for example, on the labor side, I mean, regarding the laws on labor and the workers, you are not, for example, you are not allowed, I'm not allowed to tell my workers, tomorrow it's not sunny, so you are off. And it makes sense, because you can't tell people, it's just like, oh, but tomorrow I'm not working. But the day after, you're coming back. You can't take any holidays, you can't plan anything, so yeah, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, there is not a question, just Loic Rocard.
Yeah.
Is just to talk something about the side project of biogas.
Ah, yeah, interesting. Of course, because biogas is the best balance with solar cooking. Biogas, because during the day we do solar cooking, so we have some bio-waste. The bio-waste you put them into digester. Some of you might have already tried it. And the digester will, well, there's fermentation and it makes methane, biogas. Then you can use biogas for the days without sun or for night cooking. To have an idea, the bio-waste generated every meal by all of us today, so for the meal of today, we will have almost 2 to 3 hours of gas generated thanks to the biowaste. So it's a lot, actually. And I know that because we did it. We did it when we were less well known, a bit more pirates, I would say. And we just bought a kit in China, a small one. It's like 2 square meters, and you just assemble it, and you put some cow manure inside, and it works. And so we just used it at the beginning of the Presage, and that's how we realized that it's just working so easily, and it's really efficient. But in France, right now, let's say in the restaurant, I would produce 5 to 10 kg of biowaste every day. But I have to comply to the same rules for biogas as a plant that would produce or treat 2 tons a day of biowaste. So 2,000 kg of biowaste. So I have the same rules. So obviously, it's not possible. So we try to find a way of dealing with authorities so we could, well, do it experimentally or whatsoever. And that was a bit absurd because they all say, no, it's not possible. So, but if you do it, let us know because we are really interested. So far we have no time and money to spend on it, but we plan to just do it and see. And I'll tell you also how to change the law actually, because that's what we need to do, and it might be difficult. So we have 2-3 minutes to tell you a story. Yeah. Then how do you change the law? Just by doing it. The law changes because there are people doing things that are outlaw. So we need to do it. And I was like, yeah, but if we do it, we need to first we need to prepare everything, like to be with some people doing the law in the government, to prepare everything. Then we tell the press, the media, that we will be outlaw. Then we tell the police that we will be outlaw. And we all agree that it's a good thing to be outlaw, and we need to make it. So one day we do a big press conference, starting up the biogas. Then the police come. Oh fuck! They get me in jail. But there is this man that is doing the law. No, you can't take him in jail because we have to change the law. And we make it just a media thing. And then it might change something. So that's the story I would like to tell. I have no idea how to set it up, and it costs a lot. But that's what we could do as a joke. But it's always like, see, if I want to change the law, I need a story that will force everyone to realize how absurd it is not changing the law. I don't say it will, because there are forces that will maybe fight against. But there is no other way, I do believe there is no other way, of just telling that story loud enough so that change is not inevitable.
Okay, thank you very much, Pierre-Andre. I think it's okay for now, and if everyone has questions, then you can ask afterwards.
Yeah.
I would like to thank again Pierre-Andre and Wolfgang for the presentation for this session.